Progress over perfection is the secret to unlocking your fullest potential. If you've ever felt stuck, waiting for the right moment to take action, or worried that your work isn't good enough, this video will change everything. Too many people waste time chasing an impossible idea of perfection, when what really drives success is steady, consistent progress. In the next few minutes, we'll break down how focusing on improvement, not perfection, will push you past your limits and help you achieve the success you've been dreaming of. No more waiting for the perfect time, no more holding back. Just real, actionable steps to keep moving forward. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Keep watching and discover the power of progress. Number 1, take action today instead of waiting for perfection. You know, one of the biggest mistakes people make is waiting for everything to be just right before they take action. They sit there thinking, I'll start when I have more time. I'll begin when I feel ready. I'll move forward when I have the perfect plan. And you know what happens? Nothing. Weeks pass, months slip by, and years disappear before their eyes. And still, they are standing in the same place waiting for that perfect moment that never comes. Let me tell you something. Perfection is an illusion. It doesn't exist. It's a trap that keeps people stuck, afraid to make a move because they believe they have to get everything exactly right before they begin. But that's not how success works. That's not how progress is made. The only way to get anywhere in life is to take action. Right now, exactly where you are, with what you have. You see, success is not about knowing every step before you start. It's about taking the first step and figuring it out along the way. People who wait for perfection will never begin. And if you never begin, you never improve. You stay the same. You remain stuck, and life moves on without you. The truth is, nobody starts off knowing everything. No one is perfect on day one. Every successful person you admire started as a beginner. They had doubts. They made mistakes. They faced setbacks. But the difference is, they took action anyway. They didn't let the fear of imperfection stop them from moving forward. Think about it. How do you expect to get better at anything if you never start? You can read all the books, watch all the videos, and plan for years. But until you take action, you have nothing. Progress is made through doing, not through waiting. You don't learn by thinking about it. You learn by trying, failing, adjusting, and trying again. You might be thinking, but what if I make mistakes? And my answer is, good. Mistakes are proof that you're trying. Mistakes are lessons. Mistakes teach you what works and what doesn't. They shape you. They sharpen you. They make you better. The only real failure in life is never starting at all. You want to get in shape. Don't wait for the perfect workout plan. Start today. Do a few push-ups. Go for a walk. Build momentum. You want to start a business. Don't wait until you have the perfect idea or the perfect timing. Start now. Learn as you go. You want to improve your life. Don't wait for some magical moment. Take action today. The person who starts today, even if they don't know everything, will always be ahead of the person who waits for perfection. Because while one person is learning, growing, and improving, the other is stuck in the same place, lost in overthinking and hesitation. Look around. The people who succeed in life are not the smartest. They are not the most talented. They are the ones who take action. They don't wait. They don't overthink. They don't get caught up in fear. They step forward, even when they don't have all the answers. Some people sit around thinking, I need more motivation before I start. No, you don't. Motivation comes from action, not the other way around. When you start moving, when you start seeing progress, motivation builds naturally. But if you wait for motivation before you begin, you might wait forever. If you want a better future, you have to start creating it today. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. One small action can change everything. One decision to move forward can set off a chain reaction of progress in your life. But you have to take that first step. And don't make the mistake of comparing yourself to others. Too many people waste time looking at someone who is further ahead and thinking, I'll never get there. But what they forget is that person started somewhere too. They had doubts, just like you. They had obstacles. They struggled, but they didn't let those things stop them. They kept moving forward, and that's why they are where they are now. So stop overthinking. Stop waiting. Stop talking yourself out of taking action. You don't need all the answers. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to start right now, today, with whatever you have. Because progress, even if it's small, is always better than standing still. No more excuses. No more waiting for some perfect moment that doesn't exist. The only way to create the life you want is to take action today, not tomorrow, not someday, right now. Because every day you wait is a day you lose, and time is the one thing you can never get back. Number 2, embrace mistakes because they lead to real progress. Mistakes. Most people fear them. They avoid them. They let the fear of failure hold them back from ever trying in the first place. But here's the truth. Mistakes are not the enemy. Mistakes are not a sign that you're failing. Mistakes are the very thing that lead you to success. Think about it. Every skill you have today, everything you know how to do, started with mistakes. When you learned to walk, you fell. When you learned to speak, you mispronounced words. When you learned to write, you made errors. But did you stop? No. You kept going. And because of that, you improved. But as people get older, they start to develop this fear of being wrong. They start believing that making a mistake means they are not good enough, that they have failed, and so they play it safe. They stay in their comfort zones. They only do what they know they can do perfectly. And because of that, they stop growing. If you want to make real progress in life, you have to embrace mistakes. Not just accept them, but welcome them. Because mistakes are how you learn. Every time you get something wrong, you gain knowledge. You discover what doesn't work, and that gets you one step closer to what does. The people who succeed in life are not the ones who never fail. They are the ones who fail the most. They are the ones who take risks, make mistakes, learn from them, and keep going. They don't let embarrassment or self-doubt stop them. They don't quit just because they got it wrong the first time, the second time, or even the 100th time. The real failure in life is not making mistakes. The real failure is refusing to try because you are afraid of messing up. Think about the opportunities you've missed because you didn't want to look foolish. Think about the skills you never developed because you gave up too soon. Think about the times you wanted to take a chance but held yourself back because you were afraid of what people might think. How many times have you told yourself, I can't do this, just because you got it wrong once? How many times have you quit just because something didn't work immediately? This is why so many people stay stuck. They don't lack intelligence. They don't lack potential. They simply lack the willingness to fail their way to success. If you want to make progress in anything, you have to shift your mindset. You have to see mistakes as part of the journey, not as something to be ashamed of. When you try something new, expect mistakes, welcome them, because each mistake is making you better. Each mistake is bringing you closer to success. Look at the greatest achievers in history. They didn't reach the top because they avoided failure. They reached the top because they failed more than anyone else. They kept pushing forward when things didn't go as planned. They used every setback as a lesson. The people who never make mistakes are the ones who never try. They spend their lives avoiding risks, playing it safe, and staying in their little bubble of comfort. And because of that, they never grow. They never improve. They never reach their full potential. Success is not about being perfect. It's about being persistent. It's about having the courage to keep going even when things don't go as expected. It's about understanding that every mistake you make is a step forward, not a step back. Imagine what your life would look like if you stopped fearing mistakes. Imagine if you took action without worrying about whether you'd get it right the first time. Imagine if you saw every failure as an opportunity to get better instead of a reason to give up. The only way to improve is through experience. And experience comes from doing, not thinking about doing, not planning to do, but actually doing. And when you do, mistakes will happen. But that's the point. The more mistakes you make, the faster you learn. Some people waste years waiting for the perfect moment, waiting until they feel ready, waiting until they are sure they won't fail. And in that time, someone else is out there making mistakes, learning, improving, and getting ahead. If you want to grow, you have to be willing to look foolish sometimes. You have to be willing to get it wrong. You have to be okay with people judging you, with things not working out exactly how you planned, because that's the price of progress. And if you're not willing to pay that price, you will never reach your full potential. You have to be willing to take the shot even if you miss. You have to be willing to start the business, even if you make a few wrong moves. You have to be willing to put yourself out there, even if it's uncomfortable. Because every mistake is making you stronger. Every mistake is teaching you something. Every mistake is bringing you one step closer to the life you want. Most people don't fail because they aren't capable. They fail because they quit. They let a few mistakes convince them that they can't do it. They make one wrong move and give up completely. But the people who succeed, they don't stop. They adjust. They learn. They keep going. So don't fear mistakes. Don't let them stop you. Don't let them define you. Use them. Learn from them. Grow from them. Because the only way to make real progress is to embrace mistakes and keep moving forward. Number 3, keep moving forward. No matter how small the steps, progress is built on movement. It doesn't matter how fast you go, how big your steps are, or how impressive your progress looks to others. What matters is that you keep moving forward. The problem is, most people think progress has to be dramatic. They believe success comes in big leaps. That change happens overnight. That transformation is instant. But in reality, success is built on small, consistent steps. Too many people wait for the perfect time to take action. They convince themselves they need to have everything figured out before they start. They hesitate because they don't feel ready. And in that hesitation, they stay stuck. The truth is, you will never feel completely ready. You will never have all the answers before you begin. The only way to get clarity, to build momentum, to truly grow is by taking action. Even if that action is small. Most people don't fail because they lack talent or intelligence. They fail because they stop. They give up too soon. They let doubt and discouragement take over. They focus too much on how far they still have to go instead of appreciating how far they've already come, and so they quit. But quitting guarantees failure. If you stop moving, you stop growing. If you stop growing, you never reach your potential. And if you never reach your potential, you spend your life wondering what could have been. That's why it doesn't matter how small your steps are, only that you keep taking them. Every successful person you admire got there by taking one step at a time. They didn't wake up one day with all the answers. They didn't suddenly master their craft in a week. They started where they were, did what they could, and kept going. They didn't let slow progress discourage them. They didn't expect perfection. They focused on moving forward, day after day. People love to admire the results of success, but they forget about the process. They see the champion, but they don't see the years of daily effort. They see the millionaire, but they don't see the small, disciplined financial decisions made over time. They see the expert, but they don't see the practice, the repetition, the failures, and the struggles that came first. If you want to reach your goals, you have to be willing to move forward, even when progress feels slow, even when it feels like nothing is happening, even when it feels like you're not getting anywhere, because every step matters. Every step adds up, and over time, those small steps become something big. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking that small progress isn't worth it, that if they're not making massive leaps forward, it doesn't count. But this mindset is dangerous. It keeps people stuck. It keeps them waiting instead of doing. It makes them believe that if they can't make big changes right now, they might as well not try at all. This is why so many people struggle. They set a goal, but they don't see instant results. So they give up. They start working towards something, but when they don't see dramatic change, they lose motivation. They expect quick rewards, and when they don't get them, they quit. But success doesn't come from big, dramatic actions taken once. It comes from small, consistent actions taken over time. If you go to the gym once and expect to see results, you'll be disappointed. But if you go consistently, even if your workouts aren't perfect, you will improve. If you read one book, you won't suddenly become an expert. But if you read consistently, your knowledge will grow. If you save a small amount of money, it might not seem like much. But if you do it consistently, over time, it turns into something significant. The problem isn't that people don't want to succeed. The problem is that they don't want to be patient. They want quick results, and when they don't get them, they stop trying. But progress is not about speed. It's about consistency. It's about doing something every single day, no matter how small, to move forward. You don't have to have everything figured out to start. You don't have to take huge leaps. You just have to take one step, and then another, and another. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to get it right every time. You just have to keep going. Think about what happens when you push a heavy object. At first, it's difficult. It barely moves. It feels like you're putting in effort without seeing results. But if you keep pushing even slowly, eventually it starts to move. And once it gains momentum, it becomes easier to keep it going. This is how progress works. The beginning is the hardest part. It feels slow. It feels frustrating. It feels like nothing is happening. But if you keep going, eventually things start to shift. Most people never get to that point because they give up before momentum kicks in. They stop pushing. They let their frustration stop them. But if you just keep going, even when it feels slow, even when it feels like you're not making progress, eventually you will see the results. Success is not about talent. It's not about luck. It's about persistence. It's about refusing to quit. It's about understanding that slow progress is still progress. It's about committing to keep moving forward. No matter how small the steps, stop worrying about how far you have left to go and start focusing on what you can do today. Stop waiting for motivation and start building discipline. Stop expecting instant results and start trusting the process. Because the people who succeed are not always the smartest or the most talented. They are the ones who refuse to quit. They are the ones who take action, no matter how small, every single day. So if you feel like you're not making progress, keep going. If it feels slow, keep going. If it feels like you're not getting anywhere, keep going. Because progress isn't about being the fastest. It's about being the one who never stops. Number 4, focus on improvement instead of chasing flawless results. Chasing perfection is one of the biggest traps you can fall into. It keeps you stuck. It keeps you hesitant. And worst of all, it keeps you from making real progress. Too many people are obsessed with flawless results. And because of that, they never even start. They hesitate, overthink, and delay taking action because they're afraid of making mistakes. But here's the truth. Flawless results don't exist. There's no such thing as perfect. And if you spend your life chasing perfection, you will always feel like you're falling short. The smartest thing you can do is shift your focus. Instead of trying to be perfect, focus on improving. Focus on getting better every single day. That's where real growth happens. Not in the pursuit of perfection, but in the commitment to progress. If you improve just a little every day, those small improvements add up. Over time, they turn into something incredible. The people who succeed in life are not the ones who wait until they feel perfect to start. They are the ones who start now and improve along the way. They don't let fear of imperfection hold them back. They don't wait for everything to be just right. They take action. They make adjustments. And they keep moving forward. Because they understand that perfection is an illusion. The biggest mistake people make is thinking that if something isn't perfect, it isn't worth doing. That if they can't get it exactly right the first time, they shouldn't even try. But that's the kind of thinking that leads to failure. Because if you don't start, you can't improve. And if you don't improve, you can't succeed. Think about the greatest athletes, the most successful entrepreneurs, the best in any field. Do you think they started out perfect? Do you think they never made mistakes? Of course not. They started as beginners. They struggled. They failed. They made countless mistakes. But instead of letting those mistakes stop them, they used them as lessons. They focused on improving, not being perfect. Look at anyone who has mastered their craft, and you'll see the same pattern. They weren't perfect when they started. They didn't have it all figured out, but they were willing to learn. They were willing to grow. They focused on getting better instead of worrying about being flawless. And that's what set them apart. Perfection is the enemy of progress. When you're focused on perfection, you hesitate. You second-guess yourself. You waste time worrying about details that don't really matter. And while you're stuck in that cycle, someone else is out there taking action. Someone else is learning, growing, and improving because they're not afraid to be imperfect. If you want to achieve anything, you have to be willing to take imperfect action. You have to be okay with making mistakes, learning from them, and moving forward. That's how success is built. That's how real improvement happens. Every single day, focus on getting better, even if it's just by a small amount. That small improvement might not seem like much at first, but over time it becomes something huge. Most people never reach their full potential because they're too afraid to start before they feel ready. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect conditions, the perfect plan, but those things never come. There is never a perfect time. There is never a moment where everything aligns just right. And the longer you wait, the more opportunities you miss. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be better than you were yesterday. That's all that matters. If you're constantly improving, if you're making progress every day, then you're moving in the right direction. And that's what leads to long-term success. There will always be something you can improve. There will always be things you can do better. But that shouldn't stop you from taking action today. The key is to start where you are, with what you have, and improve along the way. If you keep waiting for perfection, you'll stay stuck forever. Think about any skill you've ever learned. When you first started, you weren't good at it. You made mistakes. You struggled, but you didn't stop. You kept going, and over time, you got better. The same principle applies to everything in life. Whether it's your career, your personal development, or any goal you want to achieve, improvement happens through consistent effort, not by waiting for perfect conditions. If you want to get in shape, don't wait for the perfect diet or the perfect workout routine. Start today. Do what you can and improve as you go. If you want to start a business, don't wait until you have every detail figured out. Start with what you know and learn as you move forward. If you want to build confidence, don't wait until you feel fearless. Take action, even when you feel uncertain, and confidence will grow from there. The most successful people in the world didn't wait for perfection. They started, they improved, and they kept going. And that's what you have to do too. Forget about being flawless. Forget about having everything figured out. Focus on getting better, little by little, every single day, because that's what leads to real success. Every day, ask yourself, what can I do to improve? How can I be better than I was yesterday? That's what matters. That's what makes a difference. If you focus on that, if you stay committed to growth, you will achieve more than you ever thought possible. Stop chasing perfection. Stop holding yourself back. Take action. Improve as you go. Keep moving forward. Because the person who takes imperfect action will always be ahead of the person who waits for perfect conditions. Success is not about being flawless. It's about being relentless in your pursuit of progress. And the only way to get there is by starting now and never stopping. Number 5, stop overthinking and start doing what matters now. Overthinking is the silent killer of progress. It's the reason so many people stay stuck, watching opportunities pass them by while they analyze every possibility, question every decision, and hesitate at every turn. The more you overthink, the less you do. The less you do, the more you regret. And before you know it, years go by, and you're in the same place, still thinking about what could have been, instead of living the life you wanted. Overthinking doesn't solve problems. It creates more of them. It doesn't move you forward. It holds you back. The longer you stay trapped in your mind, the more paralyzed you become. You already know what needs to be done. Deep down, you already have the answers. But you let doubt, hesitation, and fear cloud your mind, making simple decisions feel impossible. You think and think, hoping that one more moment of analysis will lead to clarity, but it never does. Clarity comes from action, not from endless thinking. The only way to get unstuck is to stop overanalyzing and start doing. The truth is, most of the things you overthink about don't even matter. You waste energy on decisions that won't change the course of your life. You stress about the perfect time, the perfect way, the perfect plan, but perfection doesn't exist, and the only thing you're doing is delaying the action that will change your life. Every minute spent overthinking is a minute lost that could have been used to make real progress. Every time you sit and analyze, someone else is out there taking action, moving forward, and getting results while you're stuck in your head, convincing yourself that you need more time. You don't need more time to think. You need to act. You need to take the first step, no matter how small, and let action build momentum. The mind plays tricks on you. It tells you that you need to wait until you feel ready. But feeling ready is an illusion. You will never feel completely ready because your mind will always find something to worry about. The only way to break free from overthinking is to act despite the uncertainty, to move forward even when you have doubts, to make a decision and commit to it without second-guessing yourself. Think about all the times in your life when you hesitated, when you thought too much about what could go wrong, when you convinced yourself to wait. What did it cost you? How many opportunities slipped away? How many dreams faded because you waited too long? How many moments of happiness were lost because you were too busy thinking instead of living? Overthinking doesn't protect you. It doesn't keep you safe. It only keeps you stuck. The most successful people in the world don't waste time overanalyzing every move. They trust themselves. They take action. They make decisions quickly and adjust along the way. They don't need all the answers before they start. They know that progress comes from movement, not from sitting still thinking about what could go wrong. You might think that by overanalyzing, you're preparing yourself for success, but the opposite is true. Overthinking kills momentum. It drains your energy. It makes everything seem harder than it actually is. And the worst part? The longer you overthink, the more fear grows. The more you hesitate, the bigger the obstacles in your mind become. Small decisions start feeling overwhelming. Simple actions start feeling impossible. And before you know it, your own mind becomes your greatest enemy. You need to break the cycle. You need to stop letting your thoughts control you. The only way to do that is to take action. Not tomorrow, not next week. Right now, the moment you catch yourself overthinking, interrupt it. Take a small step. Do something, anything, to create movement. Because once you start moving, everything changes. The fear starts to fade. The hesitation disappears. Confidence builds. And suddenly the things you were overthinking about don't seem so complicated anymore. Most people never reach their full potential because they think too much and do too little. They overanalyze every decision, searching for the perfect answer that doesn't exist. They wait for certainty, for guarantees, for a sign that it's the right time. But the right time is now. The only way to figure things out is by taking action. The only way to learn is by doing. The only way to succeed is by stepping forward, even when you don't have all the answers. You don't need to have everything figured out before you begin. You don't need to know every step before you take the first one. You just need to start, because action leads to clarity. Action leads to growth. Action leads to success. The longer you wait, the harder it gets. The longer you hesitate, the more fear takes over. The longer you think, the more you convince yourself to stay where you are. Your dreams are waiting for you, but they won't wait forever. The opportunities in front of you will pass if you don't act. The life you want will remain just a fantasy if you keep overthinking instead of doing. You have a choice. You can either let your thoughts control you, or you can take control of your actions. You can either stay stuck in your mind, or you can break free and start making things happen. There is no secret formula, no magic moment when everything will feel right. The only way forward is to take action now. Not when you feel like it, not when everything is perfect, but now. Because the sooner you start, the sooner you will see progress. The sooner you take action, the sooner you will realize that the things you were overthinking about weren't as big as they seemed. You have wasted enough time in your head, enough time waiting, enough time hesitating. It's time to move. It's time to stop thinking and start doing. It's time to take back control of your life. Because the people who succeed are not the ones who overthink. They are the ones who take action. And you can be one of them, starting now. Number 6, measure growth by effort instead of unrealistic standards. Growth isn't about reaching some impossible level of perfection. It's about effort, consistency, and the daily work you put in. Too many people measure their progress against unrealistic standards, comparing themselves to others, chasing an illusion of perfection that doesn't exist. They believe that unless they're the best, unless they achieve overnight success, unless they have everything figured out, their progress doesn't count. But that mindset is toxic. It kills motivation. It makes you feel like you're never enough, no matter how hard you try. And worst of all, it blinds you to the progress you're actually making. The truth is, real success isn't about perfection. It's not about meeting some arbitrary standard set by society or social media. It's about the effort you put in every single day. It's about showing up, even when you don't feel like it. It's about pushing forward, even when results aren't immediate. Because effort compounds over time. The small steps you take, the tiny improvements you make, they add up. And one day you look back and realize how far you've come. Not because you hit some perfect milestone, but because you refuse to quit. People fail not because they aren't capable, but because they judge themselves too harshly. They look at someone else's highlight reel and assume that's the standard they need to reach right away. They don't see the years of struggle, the thousands of unseen hours of effort, the failures and setbacks that every successful person has faced. Instead, they only see the end result and think, "I'll never be that good," so they stop trying. They convince themselves that if they aren't the best, then their effort doesn't matter. And that is the fastest way to kill growth. What matters isn't how you compare to others. What matters is whether you're better than you were yesterday, whether you're putting in the work, learning, growing, and improving. Because success isn't a single moment. It's the result of continuous effort. And the people who achieve great things aren't the ones who wait for the perfect moment. They aren't the ones who demand perfection from themselves. They are the ones who put in the effort day after day, regardless of how small the progress feels. You need to shift your mindset. Stop chasing an impossible standard. Stop telling yourself that your progress doesn't count unless it's perfect. Start measuring growth by the effort you put in. Did you show up today? Did you try? Did you push yourself just a little bit more than yesterday? If the answer is yes, then you are growing. And that's all that matters. There will always be someone ahead of you. Someone who seems to be doing better. Someone who makes it look easy. But their success doesn't take away from yours. Their progress doesn't mean you aren't improving. The only competition that matters is the one with yourself. And if you focus on effort, on showing up, on doing the work, then success is inevitable. The biggest mistake people make is thinking that success has to look a certain way, that if they aren't achieving massive visible results, then they aren't making progress. But growth doesn't always show immediately. It happens in the quiet moments, in the small victories that no one else sees. Every time you push through self-doubt, every time you take action, despite fear, every time you choose discipline over comfort, you are growing, and that's what matters. Think about the people you admire, the ones who have built incredible things, the ones who inspire you. They didn't get there by chasing perfection. They didn't get there by comparing themselves to others. They got there by showing up, by putting in effort, by refusing to quit even when progress was slow. You have to do the same. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop thinking you need to be flawless to succeed. Just focus on effort. Focus on doing the work, improving little by little, and trusting the process. Because if you keep going, if you keep putting in the effort, success isn't a matter of if, it's only a matter of when. Number 7, push yourself daily instead of fearing imperfection. Perfection is an illusion, a moving target that keeps shifting the moment you think you've reached it. And yet so many people are paralyzed by the fear of not being perfect. They hold back, they hesitate, they second-guess themselves because they're afraid of making mistakes, afraid of looking foolish, afraid of not being good enough. But that fear is the very thing that keeps them stuck. It stops them from taking action, from learning, from growing. They convince themselves that if they can't do something flawlessly, they shouldn't do it at all. And that is the mindset that destroys potential. The truth is, growth comes from action, not from waiting for the perfect moment. Every successful person you admire, every expert in any field, every high achiever, they didn't start off perfect. They started off just like you, unsure, making mistakes, learning as they went. But they had one thing that set them apart. They pushed themselves forward daily. They didn't let fear stop them. They didn't sit around waiting for the right time, the right conditions, or the right level of confidence. They took action, even when they didn't feel ready. If you wait until you feel completely prepared, you'll be waiting forever. If you wait until you're absolutely sure you won't fail, you'll never take the first step. The only way to improve, the only way to succeed, is to push yourself despite the fear, to show up every day and do the work, even when you doubt yourself, even when you feel like you're not making progress. Because progress isn't always obvious. It doesn't always show up immediately. But every effort you make, every challenge you take on, every time you step outside your comfort zone, it all adds up. Too many people spend their lives on the sidelines, watching others succeed, wondering why they haven't achieved the same results. They tell themselves stories about why they can't do it. They make excuses. They blame circumstances, timing, lack of experience. But deep down, the real reason is that they are afraid of imperfection. They are afraid to put themselves out there and risk failing. But here's the thing. Failure is not the enemy. The real enemy is stagnation. The real failure is never trying. You have to be willing to fail, to struggle, to fall short. Because every time you do, you learn, you get stronger, you get better. If you aren't failing, if you aren't facing difficulties, then you aren't pushing yourself hard enough. Comfort is the greatest enemy of progress. If you stay where it's safe, if you only do the things you're already good at, you will never grow. You will never tap into your full potential. Pushing yourself daily doesn't mean you have to make massive leaps overnight. It doesn't mean you have to be perfect right away. It simply means that every day you take action. Every day you challenge yourself to be just a little better than you were yesterday. Maybe that means learning a new skill. Maybe it means stepping up when you'd rather stay quiet. Maybe it means facing a fear, trying something new, or simply refusing to quit when things get tough. Success isn't built on perfect execution. It's built on persistence. It's built on the willingness to keep going, even when the results aren't immediate, even when progress feels slow. The people who make it to the top aren't the ones who never make mistakes. They are the ones who refuse to let those mistakes stop them. They are the ones who keep pushing forward, keep improving, keep showing up no matter what. You have to develop that same mindset. You have to train yourself to see imperfection, not as something to fear, but as part of the journey. The only way to grow is to take action, despite the fear, despite the doubts, despite not having everything figured out. Because the reality is, you'll never have it all figured out. No one does. But the people who succeed are the ones who start anyway. Stop waiting. Stop hesitating. Stop letting fear control you. Push yourself every single day. Do the hard things. Take the risks. Challenge yourself to grow, to improve, to step into the person you're meant to be. Because the only thing standing between you and success isn't a lack of talent, isn't a lack of opportunity. It's the belief that you have to be perfect before you begin. Let go of that belief. Start now. Push yourself forward and never look back. Number 8, prioritize learning over getting everything exactly right. Most people hold themselves back, not because they lack intelligence or ability, but because they are obsessed with getting everything exactly right. They hesitate, overanalyze, and second-guess every move, terrified of making mistakes. They think that if they can't execute something perfectly, it's not worth doing at all. This mindset is what kills progress. It's what keeps people stuck in the same place, year after year, never daring to move forward because they are waiting for the perfect plan, the perfect strategy, the perfect moment. But perfection is an illusion. It's a trap that keeps you from taking action. The truth is, nothing will ever be exactly right. No decision will ever be free of risk. No action will ever come with a guarantee of success. The people who get ahead in life are not the ones who do things flawlessly. They are the ones who are willing to learn, adapt, and improve as they go. The most successful people in the world are learners. They don't waste time worrying about whether they'll get everything right the first time. Instead, they focus on progress. They understand that mastery comes from experience, and experience comes from trying, failing, and adjusting. Every mistake is a lesson. Every challenge is an opportunity to grow. Every setback is a stepping stone to something greater. If you're not willing to learn, if you refuse to start until you feel completely ready, you will never accomplish anything worthwhile. You have to rewire your thinking. Instead of aiming for perfection, aim for growth. Instead of fearing failure, embrace the lessons it brings. The faster you learn, the faster you improve. And the only way to learn is by doing. Reading, researching, and planning have their place, but they will never replace real-world experience. The moment you step into action, you gain knowledge that no book, no lecture, no theory can teach you. You start to understand what works and what doesn't. You begin to see patterns, find solutions, and develop skills that can only come from hands-on effort. Most people get stuck in endless preparation mode. They convince themselves they need more information, more courses, more time. They tell themselves they're just being careful, just making sure they're ready. But deep down, it's not about preparation. It's about fear. Fear of looking foolish. Fear of making mistakes. Fear of not being good enough. But the only way to get better is to begin. The only way to build confidence is to take action, to push through uncertainty, to trust that you will figure things out along the way. The truth is, no one starts off as an expert. No one begins with all the answers. The greatest achievers in any field, whether it's business, sports, art, or science, started at zero. They didn't wait until they were perfect. They started, they failed, they learned, and they improved. They didn't see mistakes as proof of their inadequacy. They saw them as essential steps in the process of becoming great. If you want to succeed, you have to develop the same mindset. You have to stop worrying about whether you're doing everything right and start focusing on how much you're learning. Learning should be your priority. Every single day you should be stretching yourself, seeking out challenges, exposing yourself to new experiences that force you to grow. The faster you fail, the faster you learn. The faster you learn, the faster you improve. And the faster you improve, the faster you succeed. That's how real progress happens. It's not about avoiding mistakes. It's about making them, learning from them, and getting better because of them. There are two types of people in this world: those who stay stuck because they're afraid of making the wrong move, and those who move forward because they're focused on getting better. The first group never accomplishes anything significant because they are too caught up in the illusion of perfection. The second group achieves greatness because they prioritize learning over getting everything exactly right. They are not afraid to look like beginners. They are not ashamed of their early attempts. They don't let failure define them. They let it teach them. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not talent. It's not intelligence. It's the willingness to learn, adapt, and grow. If you want to make real progress in your life, you have to stop demanding perfection from yourself. You have to be okay with making mistakes. You have to embrace the fact that growth is messy, that success is built on failure, and that the only way forward is to take action, learn, adjust, and keep going. Stop waiting for everything to be perfect. Stop hesitating because you don't have all the answers. Start now. Take the first step. Learn as you go. That's how you build confidence. That's how you master any skill. That's how you achieve anything worthwhile. Because in the end, success doesn't go to those who never make mistakes. It goes to those who never stop learning. Number 9, build momentum by doing instead of waiting for ideal conditions. Most people spend their lives waiting for the right time, the right conditions, the right motivation. They tell themselves that they'll start when things settle down, when they have more energy, when they feel ready. But that moment never comes. Days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, and before they know it, years have passed, and they're still in the same place, making the same excuses, telling the same stories about why they haven't taken action. The truth is, waiting is a trap. There will never be a perfect time. There will never be a moment where everything lines up exactly the way you want it to. If you keep waiting for the stars to align, you will waste your life standing still while others move forward. Momentum is everything. Success doesn't come from waiting for ideal conditions. It comes from taking action despite the conditions. The people who achieve great things are not the ones who sit around waiting for the perfect moment. They are the ones who start, who take messy, imperfect action, who figure things out as they go. They understand that action creates momentum, and momentum makes everything easier. The hardest part is always getting started. But once you push past that initial resistance, once you take the first step, everything begins to flow. Energy builds, progress compounds. Small wins turn into big wins. And before you know it, you're moving forward at a pace you never thought possible. Most people don't struggle with intelligence or talent. They struggle with getting started. They overthink, they hesitate, they wait for motivation to strike. But motivation is unreliable. It's fleeting, inconsistent, and unpredictable. If you rely on motivation to take action, you will never build momentum. The only way to create lasting progress is through discipline. Discipline means doing what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. It means taking action even when conditions aren't perfect, even when you're tired, even when you don't have all the answers. Because the truth is, action generates motivation. The more you do, the more motivated you become. Movement creates energy. Progress fuels confidence. The moment you start taking action, even in the smallest way, you break the cycle of inaction and build momentum. Think about how hard it is to push a car from a dead stop. At first, it feels impossible. But if you keep pushing, if you stay consistent, the car begins to move. And once it's moving, it becomes easier to keep going. This is how momentum works in your life. The hardest part is always the beginning. But if you commit to taking action, even when you don't feel ready, even when conditions aren't perfect, you will gain momentum. And once momentum is on your side, everything becomes easier. Waiting is a form of self-sabotage. It feels safe, it feels logical. But in reality, it's just another way to avoid discomfort. Growth requires discomfort. Taking action before you feel ready is uncomfortable. Pushing forward when you're uncertain is uncomfortable. But that discomfort is necessary. It's what separates those who achieve from those who only dream. Every successful person you admire has faced moments of uncertainty, moments of fear, moments where they felt unprepared, but they acted anyway. They built momentum by doing instead of waiting, and that's why they succeeded. The only way to move forward is to take action now. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. Start small if you have to. Take one tiny step. Do one thing that moves you forward. Once you start, you will realize that the hardest part was simply getting over the hesitation. You will begin to feel the power of momentum working in your favor. You will see that progress is not about perfect conditions, it's about consistent action. There are two kinds of people in this world, those who wait and those who act. Those who wait convince themselves that they need more time, more clarity, more certainty. They tell themselves that they'll start when things are easier, when they have more resources, when they feel more inspired. But the ones who act, they know that time is precious. They know that waiting is an illusion. They understand that momentum is built through action, not through perfect planning. And because of that, they achieve what others only dream of. You have a choice. You can continue waiting, continue making excuses, continue watching others pass you by, or you can take control. You can decide that from this moment forward, you will no longer wait for ideal conditions. You will act, you will move, you will create your own momentum. And once you do, you will see that everything you've been waiting for was on the other side of action all along. Number 10, win by being consistent instead of chasing perfect outcomes. Success is not defined by a perfect outcome. It is defined by consistency. The ability to show up day in and day out, regardless of the obstacles, distractions, or failures that come your way. It's an illusion that many people chase, believing that they need everything to align perfectly before they can start, before they can act. But perfection is not the key to success. Consistency is. It's what separates the dreamers from the achievers. When you pursue perfection, you set yourself up for constant frustration. You will never be satisfied. You will always find something that isn't quite right, something that can be improved, something that you believe needs to be fixed before you can move forward. The truth is, if you keep chasing perfection, you'll end up stuck. You'll find yourself paralyzed by your own standards, unable to make any progress at all. Why? Because perfection is impossible to attain. It's an endless game where you're constantly moving the goalposts further and further away from yourself. On the other hand, consistency leads to progress. It's not about getting everything right. It's about getting better little by little every day. Small, consistent actions build momentum and create results. When you consistently show up, even when things aren't perfect, you make progress. Every step forward counts, and over time, those small steps lead to significant growth and transformation. The magic happens in the consistency. It's in the small decisions to keep going, to do the work, to improve, to push through the tough moments. The path to success is not paved with flawless victories. It's paved with mistakes, setbacks, and imperfect steps. But each of those missteps brings you closer to where you want to be. They provide lessons that help you grow, lessons that make you stronger, smarter, and more capable. The key to winning is learning to embrace those lessons instead of fearing them. Consistency means getting back up every time you fall, dusting yourself off, and moving forward again. The most successful people aren't the ones who get everything right from the start. They are the ones who keep going, who refuse to quit, who understand that progress is made through continuous effort, not perfection. Think of any successful person you admire. They've all had their fair share of failures. But what sets them apart is their ability to stay consistent despite those failures. They keep showing up, they keep learning, and they keep improving. Over time, their consistency pays off. Success is built on the foundation of showing up, doing the work, and making incremental improvements. The process of becoming great at something isn't about being perfect. It's about committing to the journey and embracing the ups and downs along the way. The key is persistence. It's about doing the work, even when you don't feel like it, even when the results aren't immediate, even when you don't see the fruits of your labor right away. Because the reality is, success doesn't happen overnight. It's the result of years of consistent effort, of putting in the work, even when no one is watching, of continuing to move forward, even when you don't know where the path leads. You might not see the progress at first. You might question whether all the effort is worth it. But consistency pays off, and one day you'll look back and realize how far you've come. It's in the consistency that you'll find your breakthroughs. It's in the daily practice, the habit of showing up, that you'll gain the experience, the skills, and the confidence to achieve your goals. Many people give up too soon because they expect immediate results. They start strong, full of motivation and excitement. But when things don't go perfectly, or when they hit a setback, they quit. They don't realize that true success doesn't come from doing everything perfectly. It comes from showing up day after day, putting in the work, and trusting that over time the results will follow. Perfection is often a form of procrastination. People want everything to be just right before they take the first step. But the reality is, you can never predict what will happen until you take that first step. You can't wait for everything to align. The only way to make progress is to begin. And once you start, consistency will guide you through the process. Every action, no matter how small, leads to forward momentum. The more you do, the more you learn, and the more you grow. Each step, each decision, each action is an investment in your future. The truth is, no one ever reaches perfection. There will always be something to improve. But if you focus on being consistent, you can make continuous progress. And over time, that progress will accumulate into massive results. Instead of aiming for perfection, focus on being consistent, do the work, put in the effort, improve a little bit every day, and over time you'll build something remarkable. People who succeed in life don't wait for ideal conditions to act. They act and create their own ideal conditions through their consistent actions. When you show up every day, when you stay committed to your goals, no matter how difficult the journey may seem, you create your own momentum. That's when progress happens. You begin to develop the habits, the skills, and the resilience that will help you succeed. And you do it one day at a time, one step at a time. It's easy to get caught up in the pursuit of perfection. Social media, the internet, and even our personal expectations create an environment where we believe that success is all about getting everything right. But in reality, the most successful people are the ones who aren't afraid to fail, the ones who understand that perfection doesn't exist, and the ones who are willing to keep going no matter how many mistakes they make along the way. The key to winning is consistency, not perfection. It's about showing up day after day, putting in the work, and trusting that the results will come. Perfection isn't necessary for success. Consistency is. So stop chasing the impossible. Start showing up, start doing the work, and trust the process. Your success will come, not from perfection, but from the small, consistent steps you take every day. And when you look back, you'll realize that the real victory wasn't in achieving a perfect result. It was in the consistency that led you there.